Hello, everybody. It's Dave Neal, stand-up comic and host of Bachelor Nation News. We have an update in the Clayton Echard trial that rocked the world June 10th, 2024. Can you believe it's been a week? Well, we're listening to what other lawyers are now saying, unbiased lawyers, I would imagine, regarding the court case. Boy, it's been fascinating. I'm going to bury the lead here. I think that's the right term, right? And say that just about every lawyer that's watched the case said Clayton's side swept it. They swept it. So don't take it from me. Who is he? No-name content creator, some podcaster. We'll listen to working professional lawyers. Let's jump right into it. So as you guys know, we are pals with Omar, the tilted lawyer, who sometimes is accused of giving people a tilted erection. He's so attractive. Was that too hard for a Monday? That's his fault. That's what she said. So anyhow, I'm going to get into what he had to say, but you have to remember only a month ago, we had, he was new to this, and we remember that Jane Doe's attorney was accusing everybody of being in some sort of crazy cult, pretty much doing the Trump thing. I'm not trying to make this political. If you're not with us, you're against us. Everybody hates us. It's the fake news media. He's just doing that same thing. That's what, and again, her attorney's a big anti-Trump guy, but clearly playing by that calling card. So we have this, I guess, just 3 weeks ago, the tilted lawyer said, "I have no opinion on this case as to who's telling the truth. I can tell you that Jane Doe, assuming it's really Jane Doe who emailed me and not her attorney or some other person, believes that all of this is a malicious smear campaign against her." As she states in an email to myself, "For the last 9 months, Neal has been obsessively fixated on my personal life, creating a relentless smear campaign against me. If that's true, I'm very sensitive to this narrative, as I have represented women who have been the subject of such campaigns. I've also represented men who have been the victims of what's been alleged here. So I am going to be sticking to the objective facts and presenting an objective narrative whereby all of you can form your own opinions." The person she's referring to is David Neal, who has been publishing content regarding this case for some time. Jane Doe states, "Neal's followers have become disturbingly cult-like, echoing his every word in action. I can assure you that I know nothing of Neal's followers, or Dave Neal for that matter, and the information presented on my show will be from my own objective research, search of what's out there and my opinions regarding the weight of it all. I respect both positions and will simply be calling balls and strikes." Now, here's the thing. So, by the way, this might have been from longer than 3 weeks ago because it does say it's edited. So maybe it was a while back because I don't remember if we had the baby yet. But either way, point is, while I respectfully was excited to have more people cover the show, I was also like, look, I don't have time for new people as far as I'm throwing fastballs in the majors right now with this, and somebody wants to dabble and learn how to play pickleball. I can't teach you pickleball, but come to the court if you want. All right, I know, very confusing metaphor. But my point is Omar sounds like a great guy. I got on the phone with him. We talked. But then afterwards, I was like, imagine if every lawyer that started covering this, imagine if I had to vet them with 45-minute long conversations. I just wouldn't be able to do it. But obviously, it's like a small league that we're all playing in here, where I wanted him to know my opinions. And I told him in that phone call, look, you're a lawyer. You must be a smart guy. You can do all the research in the world you want. We will see you on the side of common sense, logic, truth. We will see you on that side. And of course, as we find out right now, he has entered that side. Now, Omar's, like I said, I've said nothing but great things to say about him. So there was no bad blood whatsoever. It was just like, you did, okay, new guy, come on, catch up. You know what I mean? It's like when a kid gets transferred to a new class and it's like, we're in 17th century Roman lit. Come on, catch up. You need to go home, cram, and come join us. Here's what he had to say following the June 10th trial, which everyone has already watched.
Up like this. Who do I think won the trial? I thought that if you were scoring this as a boxing match, a 12-round boxing match, that was a complete sweep by Echard's attorneys over Laura Owens.
Damn. So I guess what he's saying is that Clayton's attorneys won expert opinion, cross-exam, more credible witness. I guess that's what he means.
It was over the second that Laura broke down on the stand during cross-examination, started referencing the people being mean to her in the crowd, and almost started fake crying. The internal eye roll of the judge, I could feel it through the screen from myself to everybody else that was listening. When she broke down like that, she pretty much lost the judge as a participant in her bullshit.
Whoa. But I thought it was just a crazy cult. Is the judge part of the Clayton cult?
If you are of the opinion that the evidence from both camps was a tie, which none of you are of that opinion, but if you were, and the tiebreaker was just credibility, there's nobody that's looking at this case in any regard and saying, oh yeah, Laura Owens was totally credible. No, she literally threw a tantrum up there on the stand.
Yeah, it's like, why does Jane Doe deserve to win this, given all of the minor perjury, minor misstatements, and all the other things that she's admitted to doing? She doesn't deserve to win if it's like a battle of credibility, but that's not what it is. You can be a person that's not credible and still, be the victim of a situation. I would hate for her to actually become a victim in some way. I would hate for something bad to happen to her because I know nobody would believe her. Her credibility is literally gone. Whether someone frauds her, scams her, or like, any sinister thing, it's like no one's ever going to believe her based on the knowledge that she's got zero. And again, I was thinking about this myself, and I go, what lies have I ever told that have been like real lies? We're all guilty of a white lie to make someone feel good. No, your YouTube channel looks really great. No, I love the sound quality on your podcast. Oh no, it's Bachelor Happy Hour podcast. No, I believe it's a very worthwhile podcast. I think all of those 1-star reviews are not warranted. You guys understand my point. These types of lies, though, hurt somebody else, and she'll never be believed again.
In a way that I had not anticipated her doing. When I did this cross mock exam with Megan Fox, I got to say that I asked Megan a lot of the same questions about, the Planned Parenthood pregnancy test and all of that. And some of Megan's responses were spot on Laura Owens. She repeated them.
Are you trying to tell me that maybe Megan Fox is Jane Doe?
What? Complete with the vocal fry and everything else. It was a wreck. It was a wreck of it was a wreck of a cross-examination if you were on the side of Laura Owens. But I thought the defense did a masterful job of keeping her on point, of saying, hey, stop looking at your attorney for answers. I'm right over here. And then they would ask her a question and they'd be like, well, she starts answering another question. No, why don't you try answering the question that I just asked you? Because that's not what I asked you. And they were keeping her right on track to the point where she just finally gets frustrated. And I thought the most telling sign of it was, not the most telling sign, but one of the most telling signs was, if you notice her speech patterns and her cadence on direct exam with Gingras, it was one thing. She was confident. She was well rehearsed in her responses. She was, poised for the most part. She seemed to know her script really well. It wasn't until she got on cross that everything just kind of falls apart. And then there was one aspect of it where they were like, okay, look, I gave you all the evidence. And then the attorney was like, well, we checked in Orange County, we checked in this other county, whatever. It's like, okay, but that's not Los Angeles. It's like, oh, so now your testimony is that you took the test in Los Angeles County.
This will get awkward.
Yes. It's like, oh shit. She completely lost. She lost it.
Okay, so as a non-courtroom person, not a lawyer, blah, 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 I knew this was bad, but I didn't know it was this bad. Now, I got the Patreon live with me, patreon.com/Dave Neal. So you guys can leave a comment as we record this video for the public crowd, for the public school kids. We love all of you, but we just love Patreon more. No, I'm kidding. But anyhow, what was I going to say? So, did you feel like this was as bad? I was watching this in the van with Bruce, our good pal Bruce the Moose over here, and Big B, and I don't know. I mean, I knew it was bad, but she was like, "No, I went to LA." And then you realize, oh my gosh, after months of her of them begging her for evidence, months of them, deposing her, and all of the affidavits and the motions and all of that. We should not be finding out new information on the stand. That should not be happening. So I knew it was bad, but I didn't know if it was this bad. So to see another fellow lawyer here, the tilted erection, looking very good in Hawaii, by the way, just glowing, a little burned, but yeah, a little aloe vera. I know the aloe is very expensive when you have to buy it at the hotel. They know if you need aloe, you're going to spend a lot of money for it because you got burned. But either way, looking pretty good. Sorry, I keep digressing into the. I mean, imagine if this was a female lawyer, I would be, I would be shunned. But this is a way of male. This is male to male affection here. Happy Father's Day, by the way, Omar.
She lost it. She changed her story once again on June 10th. You cannot start telling different stories on the day of trial, which is what she did. It's a cardinal rule. If you tell a different story on the day of trial, you're gonna lose. And
a cardinal rule, which is ironic to use a bird reference, cardinal, although I don't know if they mean the bird. But all of this is because Jane Doe flew too close to the sun.
I know that the judge took this under submission, but there's no world where I can see that the judge is looking at the evidence in this case and saying, oh, yeah, you know what? It was reasonable. She totally thought she was pregnant. I'm just going to deny sanctions at this point. Let's everybody just move on. Oh, no.
So he doesn't see a world where she wins. And by the way, again, full 60 minutes of this great content. I'm just going to play a couple more clips for you. As we like to do, just share it from my perspective here. I do get a shout out, which is always greatly appreciated. But anyway, let's go to the next one.
Megan, I was like, because she said the same thing. How was he threatening you? Was he looking at you funny? Did he send you threatening text messages, threatening emails, threatening phone calls? Was he menacing at you? What did he do? And they just, he's being threatening. They just kind of moved on, which is to say that he wasn't being threatening at all. And he had to say that because it was the only way you're going to get the judge to believe that it was reasonable for her to fake the ultrasound test or modify the name at the top and the date or whatever, the location, whatever she did. So they answered that into evidence, and right away they scored points for Eckert. And Eckert hasn't even done anything yet, and now already she's behind because what she's saying is not making any sense. How was he threatening to you? This is her case in chief. It's her opportunity to put on evidence that she's not doing the job, and Gingras is not asking the right questions, probably because if he asks her those questions, it's going to come out ridiculous.
Wow. So saying that he's not doing a good job as a lawyer, but saying, well, what's he supposed to do? He's playing the card he was dealt, which of course was not a good one.
So
but then again, he did ask to be, he did, sign on, did Gingras do his appropriate research of her? And if so, it's like, well, if she's going to make you look stupid, you signed up for it.
Have that. She talks about how on July 23rd, she passed tissue that looked like it could have been a miscarriage, but she says that she sought medical care. She went to a hotline for pregnancy about her having a miscarriage. She asked questions. She did an interview with a telehealth doctor, I guess, telemedicine.
Yeah, so again, you going through the list of all the BS here. Let's go to the 32-minute mark here. So he clearly shows all of the ways. And again, we don't have that many lawyers that are covering this, Maybe Law Talk with Mike, I'll have to check out what he had to say. But we love these opinions because there's really no gain. I guess if you're on Jane Doe's side, you could say, well, there's now an economy for covering Clayton's side. You're gaining all of the trust of his follower. You just yap back and forth. Like you could make those types of arguments. But what we have to remind everyone is the quote unquote Clayton's crazy cult that Gingras calls them, which by the way, Gingras used K's to do that, which is deeply disturbing. But this cult is just a bunch of individuals who saw the truth for themselves and wanted to unify when she was trying to silence people individually. It's a coalition. It's not a cult. It's a coalition. And it exists because of her attempts to silence folks like me.
Really hard 2 hours. And, it's going to leave you with unanswered questions. It doesn't seem like there's a great deal of due process there. I mean, I know there's a lot of other pieces of evidence that all of you wanted to see examined. And you're not.
And by the way, I'm seeing comments in the Patreon that MG Law and Legal Vices are lawyers. Absolutely. They've done fantastic coverage. They've just been with us for so long that I'm thinking of people that have been on the periphery. You're absolutely right. MG Law, Legal Vices, Law Talk with Mike, these are all lawyers that you should give them a follow and subscribe because they've done really good work on this case. So my apologies. Oh boy, my apologies to Legal Vices. I've really given him a raw deal here. He was literally one of the first lawyers to cover this.
Not going to get a chance to do that because of how much time they had, which is unfortunate. Because in reality, I mean, they could have spent a full day, direct exam with Laura Owens and cross exam, maybe in the afternoon. You saw how fast that Gingras was asking his questions, really both attorneys, because they had a lot to get to in a very small amount of time. I thought they were both very
Yeah, they were effective on how fast they went, and some of the commenters are saying, well, Tilted Lawyer is family law, so that is true. He knows specifically the family law world. Layla said, did Gingras know she was going to say that? I don't believe so. So Deanne asked, why would Gingras let her change her story? I don't believe so. I don't believe the lawyer helped her. I don't believe the lawyer was going to help her change her story. I kind of think at this point, if she was to crumple, like an old statue, that he was just going to let her crumple. You know what I mean? I feel like he's just going to be like, all right, I did my best. Do I think Gingras is getting invited to the family barbecues? I don't think so.
For all the time and care you have given this. It's been my pleasure to cover this case. I didn't know what I was getting into when I initially started covering it. It started really when people from the Justice for Clayton Echard, from that side of it, they had DM'd me on Instagram and they said, hey, reach out to Dave Neal. And then I reached out to Dave Neal and I thought that he thought that I was probably like this douchebag attorney. Oh, this guy's going to save the day. All right, well, good luck. And here's everything about the case. And thanks for joining the party. You're late, but welcome anyway. And then I got a chance to talk to Dave, and Dave was delightful. I spoke to him for like 45 minutes on the phone. He came on one of my live streams.
And I was happy to speak to him. I just felt bad because I'm like, this is like 1/30 of my day gone. And, as a young dad and all these things going on, I'm like, I could have I didn't do my gym workout that day. And again, it's not his fault. It's important to me to spend that time letting people know my side of things because there's somebody trying to smear me. So it's not his fault at all. I'm just like, oh my gosh, imagine if I had to talk to everyone who was getting involved 45 minutes at a time. But I'm glad he shared it with his community. He's got a lot of great value to add. I think his community's grown a lot, right? I think it's grown by 40% since he's covered this.
For like 20 minutes while I was on with Megan Fox when we did our cross exam, our mock cross exam of Laura. And it was great. But this case delivered on all fronts in terms of entertainment value. I will say that from the Laura Owens side, after I did my live stream about it, I felt like I was 100% fair and objective, just like I promised I was going to do. I gave her a lot of the benefit of the doubt as I got, maybe a few days.
And by the way, Omar, we did too. She didn't tell you that part. She didn't tell you the part about how the first 7 videos I made were like, who knows? Turkey basters and things could have crawled down there. Maybe, Into
the case, after my first live stream, I just kind of saw this case for what it was, calling balls and strikes. She just got herself in a really bad situation. I thought that she had some really bad legal advice. I thought that the way that her defense team or her litigation team approached this case was kind of nonsense and didn't really do her any favors.
Damn.
I feel like Laura has to really take an opportunity to look in the mirror and see what exactly she's doing with her life.
Good luck.
That she feels the need to, like, what is it in her that is causing her to behave this way? Because we saw it on the stand today, and today was her big opportunity to present her truth. And her truth was just a lot of nonsense and breaking down and temper tantrums and all the other things that people have come to know her for by her online presence and the presence of her attorney online, her blog posts and whatnot, which is unfortunate. And so there's a lot to be learned from her attorney, from a lot of people. But yeah, this case has been a wild ride
There it is, a wild ride, which got us into this problem in the first place.
This will get awkward.
So, I mean, and by wild ride, I mean not penetrative sex, but wild rides of other variety. You don't need to do any visuals here, folks. But either way, we're going to continue to cover this until we hear from the judge and whatever fallout comes from that. Look, this is a part of our content from now to the end of time. If she decides to re-up a restraining order against one of her victims, we're going to cover it. If she decides to sue somebody that covered it, we're going to cover it. We are going to cover this story until the end of time. It won't be our 100% coverage like it kind of has been. We've probably been at 70% coverage, I understand how that can feel like I'm harassing somebody, but doing my part to increase my megaphone to share the truth is not harassing in my book, and I am happy to explain that to anyone in any court system. And much like as I explained it to Omar, I'm very confident in my ability to be wildly credible, and that story that I'm prepared to share. In no way am I taunting her to sue me. I'm just prepared for it, and every single day that goes by, I'm getting stronger and stronger in my defense of the truth. And all of you guys that have helped that out deserve all the credit in the world. A day in my life won't go by. In the future, I'll have shows and stand-up clubs, and people are going to talk about this. They're going to mention this. It will be for a very long time just a part of the conversation. It exists at the water cooler, and we don't even have the outcome from the judge yet. My guess is that the judge will take her time to absolutely eviscerate all of the fraud, perjury, and things that went on here. My guess is the judge will not mince words and be very direct on her opinion of what went down. And I can't wait to see that. Now, is there a world where the judge takes that HCG level and says, well, we just never know? I don't know. But Omar lives in the family court world. He saw what we saw, and he said, Clayton won by a landslide. But the judge is smart, and she's going to apply the law as she sees fit. And we'll be here to break that story whenever it comes. It could be anytime between now and 5 weeks from now. So clear your schedule. You'll know when we have a breaking news update. It's going to be bananas. We'll talk to you guys later. Again, live on Patreon if you want to join the private community. The chat room's fantastic. Patreon.com/Dave Neal. We'll see you later. Bye, guys.